My name is Parker. I'm not a preacher, I'm not a famous person. I'm just a guy who went through something I can't forget, something that completely changed my life. And I want to share it with you as honestly as I can, from my heart. Before I go on, I'd love for you to leave a comment below about your thoughts, or if you've ever had an experience where you felt God's presence in a real way. And if this story touches you, please subscribe so we can keep walking through these kinds of moments together. It all happened when I was 17. It was just another afternoon and I was out with some friends, not really thinking about anything serious. But in one moment, everything changed. I slipped. I remember the rush of air, the rocks blurring past me. Then the world went silent. I had fallen 50 feet and my body hit the ground so hard that my heart stopped. I didn't know it then, but for the next 22 minutes, I wasn't here anymore. I was somewhere else, somewhere more real than anything I had ever known. I wasn't floating in darkness and I wasn't lost. I was surrounded by a light so pure and warm that it felt like it was wrapping around my very soul. It wasn't just light, it was love. The kind of love that knows every single thing about you, even the things you're ashamed of, and still holds you close. And then, I became aware that I wasn't alone in that place. In that moment, I knew exactly who was with me. I didn't have to ask. Somehow, deep inside, my soul recognized him, Jesus. But not like the pictures I'd seen in church or in books. He was light, brighter than the sun, yet soft enough that it didn't hurt to look. The light wasn't just around him, it was him. And the love I felt wasn't just something he gave, it was what he was made of. I can't explain with human words what it's like to stand in that presence. It's like every wound inside you is healed in an instant, every fear disappears, and every question you've ever had suddenly doesn't matter anymore. There was no clock, no sense of time, but I felt like I could have stayed there forever. He didn't speak to me in the way we speak to each other here. There was no sound, no movement of lips, but I understood him perfectly. It was like his thoughts just filled my heart, clear and gentle. He revealed to me that I was safe, that I was known, and that nothing in my life had been hidden from him. Not the mistakes, not the doubts, not the times I'd turned away. And yet, he showed me that his love had never left me for even one heartbeat. Then, without warning, the light around us seemed to shift. It was as if he was taking me somewhere, not with my feet, but with my spirit. Scenes began to appear before me, like I was watching the world from above. At first, it was beautiful. I saw people helping each other, smiling, gathering in peace. But then, it was as though a shadow began to pass over the earth. The colors faded and I saw confusion, fear, and anger spreading among people. Nations were divided. Neighbors were turning against each other. There were storms that tore through cities, floods swallowing towns, and dry lands cracking open from heat. I didn't feel panic watching this, because his light was still with me, but I did feel a deep sadness. He was showing me not just events, but the hearts of people. So many were desperate, trying to survive by clinging to things they could touch. Money, weapons, power, yet those things could not save them. And in the middle of all that chaos, he revealed to me something that changed the way I see life forever. What he revealed to me in that moment went far beyond what my mind could have imagined. As I looked at the fear and division in those visions, he showed me that survival in those days would not come from anything people could store in their homes or hold in their hands. It wouldn't come from the strongest walls or the largest armies. He let me understand, clearer than I've ever understood anything, that the only real safety would come from being close to him, hearing his voice, and living the way he's been calling us to live since the very beginning. He showed me the power of community, not just any community but one built on love, forgiveness, and faith. I saw people gathering together, not because they agreed on every little thing, but because they loved one another enough to set aside their differences. I saw strangers sharing their last meal with someone they didn't even know, and in that act of love, both of them were sustained, not just physically but in their spirits. I understood then that weapons could protect for a moment, but love could protect forever. That hoarding could keep your shelves full for a while, but generosity could keep your soul alive for eternity. He made it so clear to me that the loudest voice in the coming days would be fear, but those who learned to quiet their hearts and listen for his whisper would know where to go, what to do, and how to stand. The vision slowed, and he began to let me feel the weight of what he was showing me. It wasn't just a picture of the future, it was a calling. I could sense that he was entrusting me with this, not so I could hide it away, but so I could speak it out when I returned. And that was the moment it really struck me. I was going to return. Up until then, I had no thought of my life back on Earth. I didn't feel like I'd left anything unfinished. Here in his presence, everything felt whole. But he revealed to me that my time there was not over, and my story wasn't finished. There were people I hadn't met yet, words I hadn't spoken yet, and lives I was meant to touch. Not because I was special, but because he had given me something that someone out there would need to hear. I remember feeling a pull inside me. Not a force dragging me away, but a deep knowing that I was being sent back, like a runner being handed a message to deliver. And at that moment I began to sense my connection to that other place, this life, returning. It was almost like the warmth of his light was slowly drawing back, though his love never left. Before the vision faded, he showed me one last thing. The last thing he showed me before sending me back has stayed in my heart every single day since. It was a picture, not of the disasters, not of the chaos, but of something brighter, something that almost felt hidden in plain sight. I saw small gatherings of people all over the world. Some were in houses, some in fields, some in places that looked worn down and forgotten. They weren't powerful by the world's standards, and they didn't have much in their hands. But they were praying. They were singing. They were comforting each other. I could feel the peace in those places. It was the same peace I felt standing in his light. And he revealed to me that these were the people who would endure, not because they were the strongest or the smartest, but because they loved him and loved each other without holding back. In a world that was falling apart, their faith and unity made them unshakable. Then the scene shifted again, and he let me feel something I can't fully explain. It was like I could sense his heartbreak for the people who were still searching in all the wrong places. Those chasing after power, money, or safety in things that could crumble in an instant. I could feel how deeply he longed for them to come home to him. It wasn't anger, it was love so strong it hurt to feel it. He let me understand something else too, that the coming days would test every heart. Not just those who didn't know him, but also those who claimed to. He revealed to me that faith isn't proven when life is easy, it's proven when everything is shaking. And in those moments, it wouldn't matter how many Bible verses someone had memorized if they hadn't learned how to listen for his voice and obey it. I don't know how long I stood there in that understanding, but it felt like he was pouring truth straight into me. Truth that went deeper than my thoughts, straight into my soul. I didn't want to leave. I didn't want that light to fade. I didn't want to feel the weight of the world again. But even in that reluctance there was peace, because I knew that if he was sending me back, he would be with me there too. And then, it began to happen. The light around me didn't disappear suddenly, it dimmed in the gentlest way, like the sun slowly setting. I felt myself being drawn backward, like I was moving without walking, and the warmth of his presence was being replaced by something else. Cold air, heaviness, and the muffled sound of voices far away. It was like I was waking from the deepest dream, only to realize the dream was actually the real world, and the life I was returning to was the shadow. And then, just like that, my eyes opened. I was on my back. I could hear people shouting. There was someone pressing hard on my chest. My whole body felt like it was on fire and frozen at the same time. I gasped, and it felt like the first breath I had ever taken in my life. Later, I would learn that my heart had been stopped for 22 minutes. 22 whole minutes without a heartbeat, but I was alive. In the weeks that followed, my body healed faster than anyone expected. But the real change wasn't physical. It was in my heart, my mind, my whole way of seeing the world. Things that used to matter so much, being popular, fitting in, having the right stuff, just didn't matter anymore. And things I'd taken for granted, family, kindness, quiet moments with God, became treasures I couldn't ignore. I started noticing how loud the world really is. Social media shouting for attention, news filled with fear, people constantly chasing after more. And it made me think about what he showed me, the storms, the division, the desperation. I realized those things aren't just one day in the future. They're already creeping in. And if I was going to be ready for the days ahead, it wouldn't be because I stocked up on supplies or learned how to fight. It would be because I learned to walk closely with him every single day. I began to spend more time in prayer, not just talking but listening. I learned to be still, to let my mind settle until I could feel that whisper in my spirit, guiding me. Sometimes it was as simple as call that person, or go talk to the one sitting alone. Other times, it was deeper, like being reminded to forgive someone I didn't think deserved it, or to give when it felt uncomfortable. Every time I obeyed, I felt the same peace I'd felt in his light. And now I can't keep quiet about what he showed me. He didn't bring me back so I could keep this to myself. He brought me back to tell you and anyone who will listen, that the days ahead will challenge all of us. But fear doesn't have to win. The answer isn't in hiding away or turning against each other. The answer is in love, in community, in forgiving when it's hardest, in trusting his voice when it tells you to take a step that doesn't make sense. When I was with him, I didn't want to come back. But now that I'm here, I understand. This is our time. This is our chance to live in a way that shines light in the middle of darkness. And one day when my time here really is done, I know I'll see that light again. Until then, I'm going to keep sharing this story in the hope that it helps someone else get ready, not just for what's coming, but for eternity. Thank you for listening to my heart. If this story has touched you, I'd be honored if you subscribed so we can keep walking this road together. And if you've ever had a moment where you felt God's presence in a way you can't explain, I'd love for you to share it in the comments. Your story might be the light someone else needs today.